Hello, today I am thrilled to welcome an old college buddy, Kim Myles. Kim Myles, the style girl. Back then we were probably debating beanbag colors and lava lamp shapes. Now she's an Emmy Award winning designer, HGTV star, and cannabis makeover queen. From design star to high design, Kim keeps proving she's the coolest damn person I personally know. Yep, and I'm gonna ride her coattails. Please welcome to the program, Kim Myles. Hey girl, hey.
Wow, Darren Slyman.
Hello, darling. So good to see you.
Darling, oh my God, you don't look a day over 21.
Well, that's great. So, audience, just to give you guys a little bit of something. So
That's
Kim
a
and
lie. I started out with a lie right there, right off the bat.
It's okay. I love it. So, audience, I've got to tell you this. So, Kim and I, we have known each other since the late 1900s. Yes, the late 1900s, another century ago, darlings. So we were so blessed. We ended up attending a wonderful college together called the Pacific Conservatory of Performing Arts out in Santa Maria, California. I forget which year, but it was late 90s. My God,
it
girl,
was
we've
it
done
was
so much.
it was early 90s. It was early 90s.
You're right, it was. But that makes us seasoned and supple and fabulous and quite
Refined.
successful.
Yes.
So, girl, I want to start this out. How on earth did we go from kikiing, getting high around Santa Maria, building theater shows, like painting sets, acting our houses off, to hello, Miss Emmy Award winning designer. Hello, Miss Design Star. Hello, Miss Multiple TV shows. Tell me, how did this go? How this happen? How this happened? Tell me.
You know, I have lived. I have lived. That is how it happens. I have lived long enough to make some things happen in my life. No, honestly, I think it's an incredible amount of hard work, an incredible amount of luck. Truly. Yeah. I wish I could take all the credit for it. And I do work hard, and I have created the life that I want, and I have agency in that. And also, it's the arts. We all know it's it's entertainment. So it's also an incredible amount of luck, right? It's that thing of like, be prepared so when the luck happens, you're ready for it.
Yes.
That's it.
God, yes.
That's it. Hard work and saying yes to everything. Truly, because
That's
really
true.
My career is like weird. I'm a hairdresser, I'm a TV personality, right? Like I'm like, but it's all things that I love, and I say yes to the things I'm passionate about. And yeah, here we are in our middle age, feeling fabulous. Look
Early
at you.
middle age.
Let's talk about you.
Please,
hello. Please, Queen. Please, shut up. Come on.
So what?
Like, you building a whole media empire for yourself. Like, I'm like, what was in the water at PCPA? That's what I want to know.
That's
were
exactly
they
what
feeding
I was
us?
going to say. Yes, that's what I was going to say. There is something about our generation, Generation X, we are a part of that. There is something about our life that when we were at those, starting aspects of our life, our 20s, right? I think it's, we were still a leftover from boomers that, we had to work hard. But there was something very specific about that theater school that we went to.
Yes.
Very small, very refined. And pretty much every single person we graduated with has gone on to amazing accomplishments.
I know.
Amazing.
It feels magical. Truly,
Yes.
when you look at how tiny, such an intimate class, right? Wasn't it like 30 for 30 in
Max,
each, like,
maybe.
right?
Yeah, maybe.
Max. So 60 of us, right? Half of us in tech and half of us in performance. And like, it's so, I would
Everybody's
say
gone on.
the majority of us are still in the arts in some capacity. Are still, and a very weird amount of us are very successful in the arts. Right?
Well,
Like, I'm just like,
something I
and
was
very different and taking different approaches too. Everybody's
oh
going
yeah,
at it
in
totally
different
different
routes.
ways.
That was something
Yes.
I was going to say is that, you never know where your career is going to take you. You were in
Yes.
theater performance. I was in theater tech, right?
Yep.
You're still in front of the camera, designing, though, actual interiors, architecture, all these things.
Yes.
I no longer build and paint sets. I now run media companies.
Right.
But you know what? Something I was thinking about earlier this week was that there is some great attribute to going to theater school. It teaches you a lot of things. It teaches you how to work as a team, in
Yes.
collaborative creative arts, where, your costume designer has to work with your actors, your set designer has to work with
Yeah.
your directors. And there's something about the collaborative arts that I
Yes.
think instilled in us at a younger age, that while we may have one particular goal that we want to achieve, we were
Yes.
aware that it affects everybody else. So we pivot
Yes.
and we
Yes.
evolve into what will be the best part for actually the production we were performing or producing at that time. So that's something, they say in business a lot that, like, you should
Yes.
always work in a restaurant or retail so you get that public thing. I think we should add theater to that. I think theater classes need to be in every school.
I mean, preach.
Yeah.
Like, yes, 100%. I mean, you're preaching to the choir, but absolutely, because I think that you nailed it. Everything I've gone on to do with my company has involved being really pliable and collaborative. And that was instilled in theater conservatory. It was instilled. You may be the one who has the great pipes. You may be the one that is building the fucking killer sets. Guess what? You're just one. So it takes
Right.
8,000 other people to make all of this happen together, right? So I think there's an egoless or an ego check in theater that is different than what I've experienced in television and in Hollywood. Like, I mean, sure, you have
Yep.
big personalities in theater, but it's live work. Everybody's doing it together. There's something very singular about that. And I feel like that competency of checking your ego at the door, of being part of a team, of being part of a cohesive unit, and you bringing your skill to the space to create something collaboratively, that has served me from hairdressing to boardrooms. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, that is
Yep.
always a skill that serves me. And maybe that's the key to all our high quantity of success.
That's
We
true.
all
Actually, you're right.
were taught that this is how you get something done. This is how you create. If you want to create something, not just tear it down. When you want to build something, this is how you build. You reach not just in front of you, not just behind you, but 360 degrees all around you, and you pull everybody in, and then you create something that really has some legs. Yeah,
Have you
interesting.
have you noticed any difference? Like, we're both theater brats, as I like to
Yeah,
call ourselves.
yeah,
But like you got into television, I got into television, and one
yeah,
thing I personally noticed, and I would love to know your take on this, is when other people came into the media sphere, television specifically, since that's kind of our genres.
yeah,
Um, if they did not come from a theater background, especially from reality TV,
yes.
I found that if they were like new to it, their ego was just inflated beyond all belief. But if they were seasoned and had done a few shows, then their ego came into spec. What have you experienced that at all?
Yes. I have worked with some of the craziest motherfuckers. Like, yes. First of all, we're in the arts, right? But I'm like, uh-huh. Here's the thing that's fascinating is that I think having really structured training at conservatory set me up for success, right? Collaboratively, as we were just saying, but also my other super skill is that my late mother was deeply mentally ill and untreated. And that created in me as a kid an ability to pivot, read signals, look for non-verbal cue, like to be like hyper vigilant and really aware, right? Of like everything around me. And when I first got to Hollywood from theater, my entree into Hollywood was a reality competition back in the day, 2006. A reality competition in their heyday when America voted, it was all American Idol, everything was brand new. And I got to that reality competition. That's how I broke into TV, right? It was called Design Star on HGTV. It was 12 designers, 11 of us, I forget. And each week there was an elimination, and then America voted on the final two. No spoilers, I won. But I got to that set, and I was dealing with maniacs. Like, maniacs. People who had not been on camera ever before, right? Who are not even in the performance realm, who are going to be on camera in order to do design on HGTV. I truly hold to this day, it was always meant to be mine. I was always going to win. But truly, I can withstand the crazies, the ego monsters, the narcissists, the wild ones, the ones you want to just take out to the shed. Like where you're just like, why do I have to waste a second of my time with you terrible person? That's like 50% of Hollywood.
Did anybody ever did anybody ever make a change after you've experienced, like you had a bad experience with them and then like years later you run into them and they're like, hey, I was kind of
No, they don't last. They don't last. Here's the thing. In Hollywood, the way you last is either you bring in the eyeballs, which means you bring in the ad dollars, or you're gone. I mean, that's your utility. You're not there to change the world. I mean, I use my platform to make the changes that I want to see in the world, but I'm like, no, that's the structure that I work within. I deliver, or there's someone behind who's cuter, younger, hungrier, right? So that's that's the bargain we've entered into, me as talent, working for people. But I've been in the business now for 17 years, television. And I came into the business as a reality winner. Now, the shelf life on that career is exactly 5 seconds. And it's 17 years later. I can deal with the crazy personalities with and hold my center, right? Very important. Also, I really like to have a good day at work. Like, I don't care what role I'm serving in, and I've been in them all, by the way. I've been the star, I've been the backup player, I've been the executive producer, I've been the creator, I've been the talent producer. Like, I've done all the things. I like to have a good day at work, and guess what? Most adults like to have a good day at work. I don't care what industry you're in. And so histrionics and bullshit, you get away with it as long as the ratings and people are watching. True. That's it. And most of the time, that's not true. Ratings don't happen very often, right? So I'm like, no, I don't run into these people. They come and go. I'm like, old lady on set.
I have to tell you one story about what I was just describing. It will blow your mind. So picture it, Sicily, 1922. No. No, this was in the early 2000s. This is back when I was really doing a lot more like entertainment news reporting. I was like doing MTV and did a variety of other things before I built my media companies. And I remember I got booked throughout the Midwest from Chicago to St. Louis to Dallas, where I was going to open, not me personally, but I was hired to open malls, shopping malls, okay?
Yeah.
And I would do like a live fashion show and I would moderate.
I've done it. Stuff. I've done those. Yeah. I love those gigs. Yes.
They're great because it's like I just show up and chit chat with people, right? And there's a fashion show.
It's 4 hours. You get to meet people. You get to see some pretty things. You get to be in a part of the country you'd never be in any other reason for. It's fun. Yes.
Well, this specific tour I was booked on, the first mall I was opening, my celebrity guest was Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York.
Yeah. Huge.
The second mall I opened was Stacey London from What Not to Wear. She was my celebrity host. Yes. fabulous
Yes.
to work with. Both two ladies were great to work with. Now, the third. The
Yes.
third celebrity of the third city, which was Dallas, the celebrity host or celebrity guest was Carson Kressley from Queer Eye, who at that time, Queer Eye was, really the big to
Everything.
do,
Yeah.
right? I will
Yes.
never forget this. So Carson shows up, of course, an hour and a half late to the gig. And like, he was kind of a pissy little bitch. I mean,
Yeah.
like, he was rude to me, he was rude to guests. People had actually paid for VIP to do a meet and greet, and he was like, I don't want to do that, blah, 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 blah. He was just really a pain in the ass through the whole thing. And, this was my first time working with him, and I did not know him well, but so I was just like, God, I've worked with the Duchess of York and Stacey London, and who the
Yeah.
hell is this
Who are
queen
you? Yes.
trying to be a pain in my butt? So I got through the entire event. And I will never forget this, and neither will he. And we get to the end of the day. I'm walking him out to his limousine to be taken back to the airport. I open the door for him. He gets into the car. He reaches out to pull the door, and I stop the door. And I lean in and I said, I just want to remind you of one thing. A year ago to this date, no one knew who the fuck you were. And then I slammed the door on his face. Right? Because I wasn't having it. I was pissed. I was like, you just
Because
made
it's gross.
2,000 people
gross.
unhappy. Yeah.
You're
Fast
an entertainer.
forward. Right. Fast forward 5 years later, I run into Carson Kressley at a bar in, I think this was New York. And he walks up to me and he's like, hey, Darren Slyman. And I was like, oh, hi. And he goes, look, I want to buy you a drink. I want to apologize. That was like in the total upcoming of Queer Eye, and while I was thankful to do that show, I did treat people poorly. We've become friends.
That's lovely. I
See,
love to hear that.
I love. That I love.
I
And maybe
love
that's why
to
he's
hear
still
that.
out there. He's still doing
I think
stuff,
it's
you know?
true. You don't work when you're an asshole, because who wants to deal with that? Especially our business, the talent piece. We are a never ending fire hose. There's always new talent, right? So, and there's always a new moment, and the new moment moves faster than ever now with TikTok, right? So I love to hear that. I love to hear that, because I think that, look, TV is good to you, but not for you. Fame is good to you, but not for you. Right? Most people, I have so much grace for anybody getting hit with the spotlight. It was weird for me. I just had training to back me up, right? But going from anonymous to famous overnight, weird. And people do treat you differently, and you do get free things, and it can get really easy to think that you deserve it. The reason you're being treated this way is because you must deserve it. And you don't. And holding on to that, knowing that you don't. You're lucky to be here, and you're bringing something, not just, it's not all a gratitude journal. You're bringing talent, you're bringing your hard work, you're showing up. But so is everybody else. You're not special. Calm down. Because it comes and it goes. Fame is not a straight line. It's this. Nope. You're up and you're down. You're in and you're out. People, you're the best thing that ever happened. And then, you're so yesterday. If you can stay in the business to catch the next crest, that's success. For me, I have a successful brand because I've lasted long enough through my ebbs to get back to the flows, because I have not always been number one on the call sheet. And I won't be number one on the call sheet again. That is the nature of the beast, right? So not being a dick, it's so underrated.
And this is something, because I look at the next generation, who I love. I love the millennials.
Yeah, me too.
I love the Gen Zers so much. But if there's one little thing I could say to them, I'd be like, hang on and just be patient. You don't have to have it right now. It will come.
I know, but remember, it's not them. Think about it. Do you remember when we were, honey, sitting in your living room, age 20, 21, thinking We were gonna burn it all down with our tail feathers. We're gonna light this world on fire. Like, and it better happen right now. I think that is youth. I don't think I mean, they don't get hung over, babe. Of course they think it should happen now. Nothing hurts yet. Of course they think it should happen yesterday. Like, oh my God. They haven't failed yet. Of course they think, right? Like, I'm like, they're just young.
Yeah.
They're just young. We were that way.
And we were.
That's why we're sitting here. That's why we're here, babe, because we were hungry and we were hustlers.
Yeah.
And we wanted it yesterday.
Yes. Yeah, you are correct. You are correct. Do you think, though, that, like, society now has, like, pivoted to so much, like, attention span being this quick that, like, do you not worry for them that they won't have the waves that we had, where we had successes and failures and continued on? Do you think that just automatically evaporates because of today's attention span?
No. I think change is the only constant. And I think the same way LOL has been incorporated into our lexicon when that first came up via texting and the language of texting, and people were clutching their pearls about the death of language. No, language is mutable. It's meant to change and shift. These young people are coming up in a world that we don't even recognize, right? Like, their world and what they've come up, a world of screens, of interface, of interactivity in that way, their attention span being shortened. They're wired for it. I think their creativity is just going to come out differently. It'll express differently. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel sad about the future. I feel very hopeful. I have a lot of young people in my life who are also, interestingly, very hungry for real life connection. Because they've come up in a digital age, right? And, like, with the screen, and they love the screen and they're freaking great at it. They run the world through the screen, but, like, they want to hang out or like be in groups together and do communal things together, which I just kind of feel like, okay, the human animal, the need to tell stories as old as time, right? We know this as storytellers and theater geeks, like that urge. We are a group species. We like to be together. So I'm like, no, they're just going to find new ways to connect. I don't know.
That's true.
It's always changing. It's always changing. I think they are incredible. I think they are coming up in a crazy time when you think of how privileged we were as Gen Xers. Holy crap. Not that we didn't have our issues. God knows. Women of color, gay man. We don't have to get into it. But, like, hello. Wow. It was a promise for us that we were going to get out of PCPA and we were going to be successful. And if we wanted to own one home one day, we would. Right? Like, it's the true. American dream as pitched was not something we had to question. They have a different reality, and so they're building something different. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, you've built media companies. You're in it. What do you think? What do you observe?
Well, that's what I was going to say. You know, and not to get political by any way, shape, or form, but, you know, I have seen I'm just going to say, decomposing of traditional media. Like, I won't say it's digressed. No, I think it's just rotting completely. 100%. And this last election cycle to me really opened my eyes a ton, and actually for the first time made me excited. Not because of who won the presidency or didn't win the presidency, but what I loved was seeing the legacy media, especially in television news media, get pissed off that the political parties were literally celebrating online influencers and podcasters, because that is the pivot I have been seeing coming for a long time. Legacy media did it with what we call the talking heads, the pundits, right? They already did that in their legacy broadcast television. Yes. Well, that was before the digital internet age, or the social media age. I am in love with so many media podcaster influencer people like Hassan Piker.
too.
I mean, seriously, I would let him do the naughtiest things to me. But he's also smart and intelligent and speaks well, right? And that's where I see things pivoting. Even with my current company, Edge, you know, I'm constantly pushing my staff and the people I work with to innovate. Let's do something different. If all my other people are doing this, let's do that. Because in reality, we've seen the decomposing. I've seen the decomposing of legacy news media. But I'm also excited about the next generation. That said, I also am hyperly aware that I don't know a damn thing about it. And that's okay. That is okay. That is what I want. I really do wish. And I wish the boomers would have got this. We get it, I think, as Gen Xers. It's okay to let go of the reins and let the next generation lead. That's okay to do.
It's important to do. It's wonderful. It's it's why I love being a New Yorker, New Jersey girl, right? Like, I love the mix of my cities. I love that if I am on a bus, I am with old people, young people, brown people, white people, all of the gender inclusivity. Like, we're all just thrown into it. That keeps my brain interested, right? Everybody's there. And I feel like, look, legacy media, everybody is not there. It's white men. By and large. So yes, I think the kind of democratization, if you will, of opinion, perspective, that's what the digital revolution has afforded us. And I think it's hilarious too that they have just been shitting all over podcasters and influencers. And I'm like, guess how I spend most of my day? If I am not working, I have my podcasts and I am listening, and that is where I am not watching television. I cut the cord a long time ago. I watch channels I'm on. But even then, a lot of the time I've seen it ahead of time because I'm part of the cut. I'm in post, right? Like, I've already seen it. I already know what happens. And I don't need to see it myself. I was there. I already lived it. I know how it ends, right? So I'm like, no, it's podcasts, it's influencers. I spent an incredible amount of time on YouTube. Personally, I think YouTube's the future. I think even, something I've been really thinking about as an executive producer is how nimble YouTube is. Because traditional media, how I came up, if I want to make a show, I have to come up with the concept, create the concept, develop the concept. Then I need to create a sizzle reel. A sizzle reel is just basically a mini pilot, right? It's 3 minutes or less of like a pilot. Then I have to pitch that pilot to my connects at whatever legacy network I think it's the best fit for. They can, at that point, say this is good for our list this season, or no, we already have, there's a redundancy. I mean, there are a million reasons. It's never personal, and it's never about you. It's never about the quality of the product. Usually the feedback is, there's a reason that you would never think it is. Then you take it to the next one. Then, there's a reason development contracts are usually 12 to 18 month contracts, because that's how long it will take you to create something and then get it into production, not even on air, to create it, get it into production. Then you're looking at another 6 months in production, and then post 6 to 8 before it's on air. Think about that in today's world. That's a dinosaur. That's crazy. That is inefficient. That is expensive. That takes all the power out of my hands as a creator. Right? I am handing away my power via contract without even getting anything for it. With YouTube, I can align with my production partner, whoever feels right for whatever project. In 48 hours, we can get something down and dirty in the field, cut it. In a week, I can have something to put on YouTube, and you're going to get instant feedback. It's going to hit or it's not going to hit. You have metrics that are instantaneous. At that point, I can adjust. I can tweak. We can say, ooh, the concept looks like this, but we have to do. All of that can happen so fast. In the meantime, as you're putting it out there, that's your little nursery, right? all of my sponsorship partners, right? Home goods partners, all of the partners that I have. This is an opportunity for them, free of charge, to look at my incubator. I can say, here's what I'm working on. Partners who will need to underwrite this. This is where I'm going to need to have to pay for this, is the ad base, right? What do you think? Is this something that you have allocation for in your budget? It's small. It's bite-sized. It's going to be maybe 5 minutes. 5 minutes is too long on this short attention span time. 3 minutes, right? That I can get done in 3 months. And it's going to fail or it's going to work. And I can move on. So, because you fail more than you succeed in this business, right? It's how fast can you fail and move forward, right?
Move back on.
So
yes.
it's like, that's the future. And I say that as somebody who has made my whole brand on television, legacy television. But I'm like, no, that's where the eyeballs are. That's where it's going. That's how people are consuming. And honestly, as a creator, as a business person, it makes the most sense. It's the least expensive way for me to hold IP and control of that IP all the way through to I can create something that I am happy with before putting it out and then having to adjust to how many cooks in the kitchen, which inevitably happens with the ad sales, right?
Amen to that. I will tell you one.
That's
My
my YouTube soapbox. Okay, sorry. Anyway,
girl,
yeah.
I'm the same. I fully feel you. I live in Mexico, so I don't really have like the basic television stuff here. I literally live on YouTube, both on my television and my computer and my phone, and I love it. Because it makes me think back to like let's see, what year was it? This was 2012. Bravo actually did a full shoot pilot thing with me because at that time I was building a gay magazine in a red state by myself.
I remember.
And
I remember that time.
Successful.
You were killing it.
But the thing is you were right. Back in that day, it was a year to a year and a half of development. And I actually, truth be told, people have asked me all the time, they're like, whatever happened to that? I canceled it. And let me tell you why I canceled it. I was going to be the star of it. It was all about my life. It was everything. Andy Cohn's a good friend of mine. He was into everything.
Great. Yep.
I mean, we even shot not just a pilot. We shot a 5-episode pilot so that
damn, no, you got a short series order. Yeah,
I know, right?
Beautiful.
And
that's what you got.
But what I realized through that process was, good God, this is going to be forever. And what if I don't like these people I work with by then? That's actually what I said. And truth be told, when I made that hard decision to say, I just don't think this is going to be good. And it wasn't not going to be good for me. It was just not going to be good in general. And I guarantee it wasn't because I canceled the reality show, but it was, I noticed my staff that I was working with, because the whole premise was working in my office, right? Yeah. I noticed my staff, even through filming, the arrogance, they thought they were stars already, and they'd never even made it to broadcast once. And I, of course, already had an Emmy. So I was just like, I don't know if I want to work with these people in a year and a half once this show goes live, because then society's going to expect me to be with these people.
Well, you come out of the gate. By the time culture consumes you, it's been going on for 2 years for you. Right? And I feel like that's a very interesting thing just for you as a creative as well. I think there is something about, creativity takes so many shapes, but the constraint, you looking ahead and saying, no, it could be, yes, you understood what this platform could do for you, but you also understood the constraints of that particular platform. And I feel like, that's called adulting. So bravo. Looking and being like, I see what this would be, and this doesn't fit my lifestyle, or who knows where I want to be in a year. I might want to do this over here, right? Like, I feel like that piece of not wanting to, it's very entrepreneurial. We entrepreneurs, right? We're like, well, you can't lock us down. I will not be locked down. You can't put a ring on it, okay?
No, not at all. And it's true, because after I canceled and I said, no, I'm not doing this, and we moved on a year and a half later, which would have been when the show would start going to air on Bravo. it was at that time that I actually pivoted my own self, and I ended up creating 2 other magazines. I was like, I have other things to
Yeah.
create. I don't need to do this,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. I mean, honestly, I'm still on camera a lot. I am really, really, a huge portion of my company is behind the camera now, developing talent, developing content where I am not on camera. Like I see what I want to create shows I would actually want to watch.
Yes. And
And
like you said, YouTube is perfect for that because why does it have to be a 22-minute show that has 2 breaks of commercials and you have to fit within this constraint that the broadcast company wants? You can make it a 5-minute show, a
why?
15-minute show, a 5-hour series. It don't matter.
It's so snackable. You can break out the content you create and package it in so many snackable ways, right? That I do feel like, look, that's the way it is. That's the modern world. That's our, as consumers, that's how we engage, right? And I feel like, look, I'm here to entertain, but I am also part of the consumer, late stage capitalist matrix. It's part of what I'm doing. But yeah, I think being able to be nimble, that's the word, just that always comes to me, of like as nimble as I can stay, my ability to pivot quickly, adjust, not be stuck, not be calcified, not be ossified like legacy media, right? Like I do feel like, look, it's got to change or it's gonna go away. I think I still think there's value in it. I still love it. I came up in the golden era of networks, but like it's just different. We're different. You and I consume differently. So I go where people are gonna see me. That's
Yeah.
the business. You go where the eyeballs are, right? And YouTube, I feel like, no, I can, there's just breadth there and space and opportunity. So yeah. Yes, I love it. I love it. Look we're keeping it fresh,
I'm hopeful for the future of entertainment and storytelling.
Me too.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous about what does creativity mean in the United States over the next 10 years. How is that going to be dealt with? But I have to remember that me, we created in a time that we were not supposed to be creating. I was not supposed to be a gay man on TV. You were not supposed to be a black woman on TV.
No.
And we did
No.
it. So that is my one sheer hope for the future in the United States of media and entertainment and storytelling.
Yep.
I want them, I hope I want these kids to be so successful like us.
Storytelling isn't going anywhere. These kids are going to rock it. And I am excited. I don't feel I feel nervous for the safety of artists in an authoritarian country. The safety is my concern. My concern is not the creativity. Because I feel like, look, America is just getting a taste of what almost every other place has had before. We're very young, first of all. We're very young. Authoritarianism is not new. There's nothing new being served here for dinner, right? So I feel like, look, it can look a lot of ways, but what is universal is the artistic output explodes historically. Because that's just how it works. The more you try to hold people down, the more they need to express. So I feel like I'm curious. I'm not concerned, I'm curious. How does it go? Which way does it go? What do we coalesce around, right? It's like the Who's down in Whoville, right? You can take the tree away. They're still in a circle. Take the tree. We don't need it. We have each other. We have community. And that's the thing. I love what you said of like, look, thinking about your life. It's us. It's you. It's me. It's our communities. It's our loved ones. It's us being useful in whatever small way we can be useful in. That's how you get through times like this, right? And we keep creating. We creating. We do not stop. This is not the time to stop.
Speaking of creativity, all right, you got this new show rolling out, which I personally love. I've been a big cannabis friend and advocate forever since the early 1990s. So tell me a little bit about High Design.
Well, I will tell you, it is. So first of all, it rolled out already. And it's so this might be an edit and post for you and me, but it debuted in 2022, and now it's very hard to find because Max has pulled it. It was on Discovery Plus. So,
That
I will
shit's
tell
gonna
you.
roll out again. Don't worry, it's gonna show up again.
I feel I was just before my time. So, high design. I'm glad you asked about high design, darling. You know, if we're gonna speak about it, let's just enjoy.
Why not?
Let's just
Treat yourself, darling.
let's just take a moment.
You know, I always found creativity. I don't have to have cannabis to be creative by any means, but man, it just makes my brain go fabulous, and I just push a little harder.
I love cannabis. No, I met cannabis at PCPA. That's where she and I met. And it was life-changing for me. Legitimately, it was the first time my anxiety was medicated and my insomnia was medicated. Right? And so it changed my life. It made such a difference in every way. I've never fallen out of love with her. And, you know, that brings us to how many, are we talking 30 years now? Good Lord, have mercy. Is that real?
Yep, it's real, girl. That's real.
Damn. Okay. So my track of creativity through cannabis was that I've always loved cannabis. It was such a life-giving, life-changing plant in my life. Has been part of my daily life for the last 30 years. And around 2014, 15, I came up with a concept for, as an interior designer on TV, I said, I'm living in California and I am buying my cannabis from dispensaries that make me feel like I'm a criminal. They are dark, they are dingy, they are sad. I'm dropping serious coin on top shelf flower, and I am not having a retail experience that reflects the amount of money that I'm spending in any way, right? I might be having a bud tender experience. The staff can be great, but the environment is trash. And for me, my ultimate goal is I want to normalize cannabis. It's normalizing cannabis. What I can do as somebody with a platform is say, yes, you're looking at a highly successful middle-aged woman who enjoys cannabis every day. It has not stopped me from being successful, well-adjusted, or healthy. You know, like I'm like, look, it's the stoner thing, which I am proudly a stoner, but that whole Nancy Reagan era propaganda machine, I was like, I'm perfectly positioned. So I stepped out of my life, and for 1 year in Los Angeles, I worked in the cannabis industry. I started as a bud tender at a dispensary, and I worked my way up to management on Robertson Avenue. Right? So I was like, I need to know the pain points. If I'm going to come in and say to a business owner, here's how it has to look. This is a highly regulated business. We will have different issues than normal architecture or commercial design. I needed to know. So I spent a year learning the business and then created the sizzle, sold the sizzle to Discovery Plus, and had 6 episodes of High Design where I got to travel America, helping small business owners in cannabis. And that's the real love as a small business owner, right? Is that really helping the mom and pop of it. Going all over, seeing how cannabis looks in different states. The rollout of cannabis in America is such a shit show, let me just tell you. So that was fascinating. But I rolled out that show, and then I also joined and became active in Cannabis Media Council. So we are the first trade council dedicated to best practices for cannabis advertising. Because one of the issues with selling a cannabis show is that to sell on traditional media, and frankly, even YouTube, even other platforms, are not that cannabis friendly. You need ad dollars. If it's not federally legal, you're not going to get ad dollars, right? So we are here to change perceptions, have best practices for advertisement, and move that needle, and have been very successful at that. We've gotten the first cannabis ads in Vanity Fair, right? So I'm like, in print. So it's that. It's making it just as normal as seeing an ad for wine. And it's better for you than the wine is. If you do not want to get lifted, it can just be a medicinal application. It's not all about getting high, right? Like my father, my stepmom, like I'm like they are boomers who are like, hey, can you talk to us about a gummy? Because my sciatica. And I'm like, yeah. And it doesn't have side effects and it's not going to interact poorly with your meds, right? Like, it's like it's so much broader than just getting lifted. So that is kind of how I came to it. That's my bigger goal, is really just being a face out there who is loud and proud and high right now.
That it's funny because one thing I love that of course I followed you your whole career. That's not in question. But what I've discovered mostly recently, which I love so much, is your TikTok. I've been watching your TikToks. I love, like, you'll get high and then you'll be like, ooh, here's a table and I have some fringe. I'm gonna take this fringe and this table and I'm gonna create something. Oh my God,
Yes.
you come up with the best ideas just sitting there
You.
on your TikTok. And before I ever go any more, her TikTok is going to be _Kim_Myles on the TikTok. Please, for the love of God, check them out because
And it's Miles with a Y. Miles with a Y.
yes, Miles with
Important. Yes.
Yes.
Please check me
Forget
out.
that.
I love that you love it. I love that you
I
love it. I'm
do.
new to it. And I kind of resisted, but then I was like, you know what? The whole reason I won a television show is because of my DIY prowess. Because I did not come from means, and in order to get the style I wanted, I had to make it, create it, fake it. Right? And so this is just how I came up. It's what I ended up doing for a large portion of my career on television is the DIY as how to create a look. This is just me doing what I do. This is me on a Saturday, legit. I get high and I think about what would be lovely. What could I make? I don't know. Is it lighting? I make all kinds of, I'm a maker. So taking that and going, all right, how do I package that into something useful so that anybody else who's a DIYer who just wants to do an easy, quick little thing that's really cool, really elevated. We don't do chintzy. We don't do cheesy. Right? You want to do that? I'm for you. And if you don't want to, if you just want to get high and watch me do it, I'm for you. You don't even have to do it.
No, it's so true though. It's so much fun watching you do these things and create these little projects for yourself. But I'm even thinking about myself. I have a TikTok channel. Have I done anything with it? Not a damn thing. But
It's hard, right? To get going.
trying to figure out what do I want to say. My position in media, especially from a national standpoint, it's like, God,
Yeah.
I've been in positions where I've said something just off the cuff, and then my little butt's in trouble forever. But then I'm like, I still have that scaredness of okay, well, if I base my platform on this and educating
Yes.
this, then it's going to upset over here. So if I
Yeah.
don't do that, what if I do something over here? I get too wrapped up in my own head. I know I need to just probably get high and hop on and be like, hey.
Yes, honey. Yes, that's exactly what you need to do. Look, I make it sound like it was a no-brainer, but I really had to consider creating a TikTok message that centered cannabis. Even though that is part of my work and advocacy, I work and I'm hireable to major corporations who may not share that, right? And so I had to give it a lot of thought. Ultimately, I weighed my decision and felt like this is the truth. I'm never hidden it. And also there's value in me being honest about this. And that doesn't mean I haven't had pushback. But my attitude is just look, you're not going to please everybody. There's always going to be somebody out there who is offended by you, your presence, what you do, your opinion, whatever. Truly, social media, I love the immediacy of it, but I also very much feel like you're not coming to my Thanksgiving. Your opinion about me is not my business. And there are a million other channels. If you don't like what I have to say, Change the like, that's okay. That's the beauty, is that you're not stuck with me. Move on. Yeah. And in the meantime, if I get something horribly wrong and I say something horribly offensive, that's what's beautiful, is that I will be educated and I can apologize. I can learn. I can grow. I can own that. And I can apologize and we can all move on together. And it doesn't have to be a big thing, right? But no, we're too old to care. I'm too old. This is how I do. This is what I do. I live a nice life. I'm here to show you what my life is and how this can look. Take inspiration from it. Take entertainment from it. Whatever it is. But like, if you don't like it, to the
find
left.
another channel. Right?
Honey.
Exactly. To the
Come
left,
on.
to the left. I love that. Girl, I could chat with you for days and days and days. I only have an hour.
It's so fun.
I love you
I
so
know.
much.
I love
Oh my
you.
God.
I'm so
I
glad
want the
to
best holidays
just
for
hang with you.
Oh my God. Oh, I just can't. I can't. Girl, thank you. Thank you. We're going to wrap up today. Thank you so much. I'm going to have you on next season. We'll do a DIY project together. How about that?
Please do. I would come
Let's do
here
that.
anytime you want, because I could kiki all day with you, my darling. So thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it. And congratulations. I'm so proud of you.
I'm so proud of you, girls. Damn. I ain't nothing. Kim, thanks, honey. Love you so much. And for my audience, guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. Check out Kim Myles TikTok, _Kim_Myles with a Y on TikTok, but also her website is fabulous with tons of great information about her, KimMyles.com. Her Instagram is Kim Myles Design. Try to remember all these things. Getting older is harder. So definitely check out all the fabulous outlets for Kim. And for us at Edge Media Network, every single day we are pumping out queer entertainment and news stories on our platform, edgemedianetwork.com. All our social medias on Edge Media Network. And we continue to grow to tell you about the fabulous things of queer entertainment and lifestyle. We'll see you next time on The Edge.